I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on solutions of EQAO test papers. Let me thank the organization for sharing all these questions with all of us in Ontario and helping us to maintain a high standard of education. Now, we have solved all the test papers from the year 2014 till date, and I hope these set of solutions will help the students to understand the topics better and perform much better. Few things to look into. When you see the first sheet, which you must have seen many times, you will definitely notice that right here is written that you have to fill in the circles completely, not partially. So that is how, and you need to do it all with pencil. You need excellent set of pencils with good erasers, right? So that is the basic requirement. Now, it is important to note that from now onwards, the calculator is also allowed. So you may talk to your teachers which calculator and how to use these calculators. Now let's begin with the solution of 2015 mathematics paper for grade 6 students. The very first question here is, a triangle will be constructed using the base shown on the grid below. Which point can be used to complete the triangle so that area is 8 units square? Now the print is very small, so it may not be so visible, so I'm going to read the question again. Second, I'm going to solve with the help of a pen so that you could easily see what am I writing, right? Writing with pencil may not be that prominent. So again, the question here is, triangle will be constructed using base shown on the grid below. So there, this is the base shown on the grid, and these are different points. Which point can be used to complete the triangle so that its area is 8 units square? That is the question. So I hope you get the question now. 4 options are given to you. And which one of these points we are looking for? Now the area of a triangle is what? Area of triangle is basically half of base times height. Now the base given to us is from 4 to 8, so this is 4 units, right? We want area of 8, right? So it should be multiplied to get half of base times height. So that means half of 4 times height is 8, right? So what should this height be? That's what we're trying to figure out, right? So 2 times height should be equal to 8, or height should be equal to 4 units, right? So you should try it out. So this is only 2 units. So Q is a better point, right? So if you make this connecting with Q, you are 4 up, correct? So 4 times 4 is 16, and when you divide by 2, you get 8. Does it make sense? So point Q is the right answer. Perfect. So in different ways, I'm trying to explain you the answer, and you have to fill up this like this. Does it make sense to you? Right? So whenever you are given area of a triangle, what you could do is double that area, since it is half base. So we could double 8 to 16 and say 4 times what is 16, right? So we say 4 times what is 16. We kind of double 8 because in area we have half. So 4 times 4 is 16. So you go 4 high, so you get the point Q. Is that clear to you, right? Now let's look into question number 2, which is a pattern is shown below, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, and so on. Which rule describes how to find the next term? So when you see the pattern, you have to think, what is happening? Well, it is going down by half, right? So we are going to half every time, or divide by 2. Think either way. So next term should be divided by 2. Now read the options. If you read the options first, you might get confused. Divide the previous term by 2. Makes sense? So you just mark this and move forward. You don't have to read all 4 options. So that is a very important tip. Perfect. Now let's look into question number 3. In question number 3, it says two rectangular prisms are shown below. How much larger is the volume of prism M than that of prism T? So we need to find the difference. So let's calculate. Now remember, calculator is allowed. So use the calculator, right? These are small numbers which could be done without calculator also, but why waste time? So we will do the volume. Volume is length into width into height. So do 30 times 20 times 20, right? 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12, yes, okay. And 3 zeros, right? There you go, 3 zeros. For this, it is what? Now for this, it is 5 times 50 times 20, right? So it is 5 times 50 times 20, right? In this case, 2 zeros, right? And then 5 times 2 is 10, 10 times 5 is 50. 5,000. Now you find the difference, which is 12,000 minus 5,000. Correct? So when you see, this is 7,000. So we have a choice of 7,000, which is option 2. So fill this up. So what I was saying here is, if you need, you can use the calculator. Don't get afraid of these big values or numbers, right? Otherwise also, it is easy calculation as you just seen. Let's move on and take question number 4. Question number 4 is, a pattern is created by rotating a rectangle 90 degrees clockwise about point X. This rotation is repeated. Which of the following shows the pattern? So that's the point X. So repeating clockwise means in this direction, right? 90 degrees. So imagine, start from, let's say, this pattern. So if you rotate about this point, you get the next one, then you get the next one. And so that is correct. So once you find the correct answer, mark it and move on. That is the strategy. Question number 5. Which of the quadrilaterals shown below has no lines of symmetry and two acute angles? Now this question is so popular that it is almost there in every paper, right? So we have to understand it. No lines of symmetry and two acute angles. Acute angles means less than 90 degrees is always a parallelogram. There is no line of symmetry here, right? Which is shown here as the second option. And these are your two acute angles. Do you see that? So we'll always fill parallelogram for such questions. So I hope it makes sense. Perfect. Let's move on and take question number 6. The graph below displays the amount of money earned by a craft sale over 4 days. What is the range between the smallest and the largest amount of money earned over 4 days? So this is the smallest and that is the largest. You have to find the difference. So that means the largest is 175. The smallest here is 25. So you find the difference, which is 150. And so 150 is your correct option. Correct? So do your calculation, then match the answer. Don't look at the answer before that. Perfect? Okay, let's move on. Take question number 7. Question number 7. Mr. Adams buys juice boxes for 384 students. The juice boxes are sold in cases of 24. If each student receives one juice box, how many cases has Mr. Adams bought? So we need to divide 384 by 24, right? That is what we have to do. So now the calculator is allowed. Just use the calculator. 384 divided by 24 is equal to 16. That is one way of doing it. The other way is you could simplify, right? You could divide both by 4 first, right? So 4 times 6, and dividing by 4, you get 4 times 8 is 4 times 9 is 36. 24 is 4 times 6. And now you can divide this by 6, right? So you can do it in steps, getting 16 as your answer, or use calculator. Perfect. Here is question number 8. It's an open response question. So you need to explain while you write down your answer. That is very important. Lucy is making a game. She uses the net congruent pentagons below to make a 12-sided figure to roll. So that's the net for each pentagon and 12 of them are there. Now the conditions given to us is each pentagon will be labeled A, B, C or D. Write A, B or C on the pentagons of the net so that the probability of rolling A is 1 over 6, probability of rolling B is 2 over 25, probability of rolling C is 3 over 9, and the probability of rolling, what is the probability of rolling a D? That is the question for you, and you need to justify your answer. So let's figure out how many A's should be there so that the probability is 1 out of 6. Now, when we say that the probability is of A is equal to 1 out of 6, we have to figure out of 12 how much it is, right? So because there are 12 pentagons. So 1 out of 6 multiplying by 2 gives you 2 out of 12. So that means I should mark A on any 2 of these. Does it make sense to you, right? Now for B, probability of B is given to us as 2 out of 12. So it's already given. So let's mark B at 2 different places. Probability of C is 3 over 9. Now probability for C is 3 over 9. How do you get out of 12? That is a big question. Well, let's simplify this as 1 over 3, right? 3 over 9 dividing both by 3 gives you 1 over 3. Now it is simpler. 4 out of 12. Multiply each by 4. So we could write C at 4 different places, right? So any 4 places, write C. Now all the remaining places are for D. How many remains? So what is the probability of rolling D? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 places, right? So probability for D should be 4 out of 12, which really means 1 out of 3. So that is your answer. And I hope you understand the justification, correct? So in the answer here, we will write probability for rolling D is 1 out of 3. It is good practice to write it in the lowest terms, right? So that is how you're going to solve it. I hope the steps are absolutely clear. Now let's move on and take the next question. Question number 9. It is also an open response question. You need to justify your answer. Mr. Scott plans a class trip for the 30 students in his class. He must pay the following costs per student. Admission $3.80, bus $10.40, snacks $5.55, supplies $7.31. Round the cost to the nearest dollar and use them to estimate. So you need to estimate, right? The total cost for 30 students. So first step is to round the cost for nearest dollar. Let's do this. So for admission, rounding to nearest dollar will give me what? Will give me $4, right? 3.80. 8 is more than 5, right? For the bus, $10.40. Now 40 cents is less than 50 cents and therefore it will be rounded to $10. For snacks, $5.55 will be rounded higher to $6.55, right? 50 or more cents round higher. Below 50 cents round lower, right? Or keep the number. Supplies, $7.30 means $7. Does it make sense to you? So per student, that is the money which is going to be paid. So that is your rounding part to the nearest dollar. Is that clear? Now we have to estimate by just adding them up. Now 4, 10, 14 and 6, 20 and 27. So we get $27 as our estimate. For 30 students, we have to multiply this by 30. So 1 0 and 3 times 7 is 21. We have to write 2. 3 times 2 is 6 and 2, 8. So $810 is the total amount, right? So that is how you have to show your work. And finally, write down the answer at the end. It says estimate the cost. So cost in dollars is $810. Dollar sign is already written, right? Let's move on and take the next question. Question number 10. Now this question is very popular and let us see how to solve it. The container of popcorn pictured below is in the shape of a rectangular prism. This is also open response. So you need to explain your answer, right? What is the smallest amount of paper needed to make this container? Show your work. Now, smallest amount of paper means on the sides, top is open. So note here, top open. So now we are working only with the base and the four sides. Perfect, to find the surface area. So we have to find surface area. So that is the question for you, right? You can actually pause the video, solve, and then look into my solutions. Now, for the surface area, let's begin with the base first. So there is only one base, which is 20 times, so 14. So that becomes the base, right? Think like this. That is your base, correct? So we found this area to be 20 times 14. So 28, right? So 280. The units, of course, will be centimeters squared. Now, each side, so we'll say front and back. Front and back sides are same, right? This is your front side. So the area of the front side is 20 times 25. So 20 times 25. Now we have two of these, right? So we'll multiply this by 2. So we'll multiply this by 2 to get the complete area of front and the back, correct? So that is 2 times 2 is 4, right? So, well, you could write a 0 first. For this 0, 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 25 is 100. So we get 2 more zeros, 100, right? Or use your calculator. So you have this option. 20 times 25 times 2 is 1000. Either way, right? Now we are looking for left and right side, right? So two such sides, left and right. So there are two sides. So the area is 14 times 25, right? So this is the height, which is 25, and that is 14. So we'll do 14 times 25 times 2 because there are two of these sides. Perfect. So left side and the right side. Let's multiply and get the answer. 14 times 2 times 25 is equal to 700. It is actually an easy calculation to do, since you know that 14 could be written as 7 times 2 and 4 times 25 is 100. Okay, so we get all this. Surface areas combination, so add them up. So we get total surface area, right? Total surface area, add them up. So you can use 0, 8. Now 7 plus 2 is 9 and 1980. Or use your calculator. So you get 280 plus 1000 plus 7000. Now some students might be 700, sorry, using the calculator, but that's not a bad option since it is allowed now, right? So I'm just trying to focus on this so that you're ready for it, correct? So we have the total surface area of 1980, right? So the smallest amount of paper needed will be 1980 centimeters square. So write it down. So we have assumed that there is no overlap, correct? So we have assumed, so you can write assumption, right? No overlap, because then the paper will increase, correct? So that is how you could do it. Now remember one more thing, that in EQAO samples, we are not really sharing with you all the questions. Sometimes they can say additional 10% overlap. Then what? Then you have to add 10% of this, right? That could be your case. Now let's look into the next question. It says 6 polygons are shown below: isosceles trapezoid, square, rhombus, right triangle, regular pentagon, parallelogram. Write the letters of each of these polygons in the appropriate section of the Venn diagram below. Now what are we filling it for? Now the first one here is at least one line of symmetry, right? Order of rotation, order of rotational symmetry of at least 2, right? So these are the 2 groups. So, and if something is not falling within this group, it has to go outside. So I hope this concept is clear, right? So keep this in mind, pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. So we can begin from left to right and take up each and every shape and then provide the solution, right? So if I'm talking about the isosceles trapezoid A, then where should it go? It does have a line of symmetry, right? Isosceles trapezoid has a line of symmetry. That is the line of symmetry. Now, the question here is, does it have any order of rotation? Now, what is order of rotation? Order of rotation is that if I fix a point in the center and rotate, I should get the same figure. When we are rotating between 0 to 360 degrees, let's try to understand order of rotation. So here, we have to see that if we rotate between 0 to 360 degrees, we should get the same size. Well, in this case, until you go all 360, you will not get the same. So that is, the order is not 2, right? So it is less than 2, just 1. So in this case, it will come in first circle, right? It has one line of symmetry and the order of rotation is not 2 or more, right? In case of square, well, if you rotate it, there are 4 different places or positions where it will come to the same orientation. So here the order of rotation is 4, right? So order of rotation is 4 in this case. So that definitely goes on this side. And then we have to look into at least one line of symmetry. Well, it has 4 lines of symmetry, right? It has 4 lines of symmetry. So that goes in which area? So B is at least 1, so it goes here because order of rotation is also more than 2, right? So it goes in here. Perfect. Next, rhombus does not have any order, any line of symmetry, and therefore it is not within the circle A. However, it has 2 as its order of rotational symmetry. So C comes in this portion. D, the right angle, this does not have any line of symmetry or rotational symmetry. So D comes outside. E, 6, if it is a polygon of regular polygon, then the order of symmetry, then the lines of symmetry and the order of rotational symmetry will be same, which is in this case, pentagon will be 5. So it is going to come here, it is common, right? More than one line of symmetry and at least 2 rotational symmetry. As far as parallelogram is concerned, it has no lines of symmetry, so it will not be in this circle, it will be outside. Order of rotational symmetry is 2, so F will come here. So that is how we are going to fill this up and make our Venn diagram. So I hope that is absolutely clear, right? Let's move on and take question number 12. Darren starts with a triangle and creates a pattern. So this is a triangle and here the pattern is created. Each term in the pattern is a polygon with one more side than the term before it. So 3, 4, 5 sides, right? How many sides will the term 8 have? So we have to figure out in term 8 how many sides will be there. How do we figure this out? Well, in term 1 we have how many sides? We have 1 plus 2. In term 2 we have how many sides? We have 2 plus 2, right? In term 3 we have 3 plus 2. 2 more, right, than the term number. So in 8 it should be 8 plus 2, which is 10. So the answer is 10 for us. Clear? Question number 13, which is how many milliliters are there in 0.56 liters? So 1 liter, you should know, is 1000 milliliters. So we'll multiply by 1000. 0.56 times 1000. So that means this is going to move to 3 places. We have to add one more 0. We have 560 milliliters. Does it make sense? So we get third option, which is 560 milliliters as our answer. Correct? Now let's look into question number 14, which is a list of numbers is shown below: 43, 50, 58, 49, 57, 50, 44, 43, 54, and 45. We are given different stem and leaf graphs. Which one is the correct answer? Now for this, I like you to arrange the number yourself and then check, right? So we have 43, so 4s, right? Then we have 50, okay, then we have 58, so this is 58, 57, 49 comes here, right? 50 again comes here, 44 goes on this side, 43 again comes here, 54, and then 45. So we have how many 40s? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the numbers are 3, 3, 4, 5, 9. So for 40s, 3, 3, 4, 5, 9 is in second option. So fill this up. Do you see that? So it's good to look at it. Sometimes, because the numbers are repeated, it might be confusing. So that's my suggestion. Well, do it any way you like. So in stem and leaf, you provide the tens place here, if you are two-digit number, right? Tens place on the stem and ones on the leaf, and then check your answer. Now here is question number 15, and this is also the last page, last 4 questions for us. Betsy has a bakery. She uses 128.4 grams of flour to make 6 muffins. How much flour does it take to make 72? So for 6, it is 128.4. For 72, how much will it be, right? So what you could do is, one think like this. How many times is 72? Kind of a ratio, right? 72, you could do that. Or you could divide this first by 6 to get 1 and then multiply by 72. This is another way of doing it. Now since calculator is allowed, we'll do like this. So we'll say 128.4 times 72, and then we are going to divide this by 6 to get our answer in decimals, 1540.8. So 1540.8 is the third option which we are going to select. The other option is, this is 12 times, right? You could also multiply 128.4 times 12 to get the same answer. Either way, you should get this answer, right? Next, question number 16. Isaac and Presley each have a jar of colored cubes. The contents of their jars are shown in the table below. So let me just... Okay. So these are the colors. Number of cubes in Isaac's jar, number of cubes in Presley's jar. They reach into their jars and each chooses 1 cube without looking. What color of cube has the same probability of being chosen from Isaac's jar as from Presley? We're looking for same probability. So first thing is, do the total. So if you add them up, 6 and 6 is 12, 12 plus 5 is 17, and 3 is 20. Here if you add, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 3 is 8, and 2, 10. So the probability, we are taking away 20 and 10. So this is twice the number. So if it was 20, just double them up. So we get 4, 6, 6, and 4. Well, comparing, we know blue has the same number. So the probability becomes same. So the answer is blue, which is your second option on this page, right? So that is how you're going to answer. So I hope it is absolutely clear. Let's move on and take question number 17 now. Tara enlarges the following shape on the grid below. So that's the T, which is to be enlarged and placed here. The question related to this is, what are the coordinates of the 2 missing points that Tara needs to complete the shape? So the 2 missing points could be, this is 1 point, correct, which is missing, and the other point missing is this one. So we have to read these 2 points to complete the shape. So this point is 6, 2, right? So it is 6 and 2. The other point here is 8, 9, right? So 8, 9, and 6, 2. So let's see, where is 8, 9 and 6, 2? So it is the second option, which is the correct option, correct? The last question here is, which of the following numbers has the greatest value? Just compare. So when you're looking from the left side, so check from left. So all are zeros, that's fine. Then after decimal, 4 is the biggest number here, so first option, right? So that is what you get. So 0.4 is your largest number. You have to check from left, that is the place value, right? So 4/10 is the largest number here. So I hope with this you understand and appreciate how we should attempt to solve the EQA questions. Some of them are open response questions where you need to explain how you got the answer. Better the explanation, higher the grades. And in other questions, try to solve them first, then check your answer. That will help. Feel free to write your comment, share your views, and if you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.